This is European soccer's biggest stage.
Written in the stars! What a difference she has made!
The question is, can you handle it?
Can you handle it?
The crowd here feels electric.
Stream every match of the UEFA Women's Champions League on Paramount Plus.
I lost my dad and my aunt.
What aren't you telling me?
I'll never know what you've gone through, but I'm sure your dad will want you to be happy.
I will not lose the company that my husband started.
I want success. Get it for me.
This business will bleed you dry.
Dad, I'm playing on the house's money now.
No, you're playing with the devil's money.
What's the plan here?
Gotta blow!
Yeah, well, I'm just getting started.
Landman. All episodes now streaming only on Paramount Plus.
Things are heating up, that's for sure. We found this opportunity and we're working for it.
My man.
Tulsa King. All episodes now streaming only on Paramount Plus.
You need a hug?
You need a fist?
Crutch, crutch, crutch.
Crutch, crutch.
Crutch, you need anything. I do have one question. We didn't mean right now.
Welcome along to Scoreline 48 Nations, presented by McDonald's. Adam Hunt here in the studio with Ian Joy and Chris Whittingham. Big hello to everyone watching live on YouTube. We'll get to your questions and comments as you send them in. What a performance from Mexico at the Azteca, beating Ecuador 2-0. Julian Quinones and Raul Jimenez with the goals in the first half. And the Azteca was rocking as the fans there watched both of those goals in the first half, and then they held on. In the second half, kept it very solid against Ecuador, who got a late red card for Piero Hincapié late on, as well as they go down to 10 men. So Mexico take their spot, as we said, in the round of 16, where they will face England or DR Congo. Ian, it was a one-sided first half. It was still pretty one-sided in the second half. It was only going to be one winner. This was a real statement performance from Mexico, wasn't it, in the knockouts?
Yeah, what a game. What a performance from Mexico, right? This was a standout performance. We were asking pre-game whether it would be a performance that would basically make us sit up and take notice that they mean business, or would it be just another performance that we were waiting for more from this Mexican national side? That first 45 minutes, I think, has probably put fear into any opponent that comes their way, especially when they play now at the Azteca. Still undefeated in World Cup games at the Azteca. It's now 10 games they've gone, and incredibly enough, they've won 6 of them. And that was one of the best first half performances I've seen from the Mexican national team for years, for a very long time. Standout performers, team collectively, stadium eruption. I mean, the coach on the sidelines, Aguirre, everything looks like it's going perfectly well. They still haven't conceded a goal at all in this competition. That's incredible in itself. I didn't expect the defence to be as solid as it has been, but Ecuador didn't offer much in this game. First 45 minutes, second half, they had 70% possession. They had 1 shot on target. It's just not good enough in a knockout stage game when you are going up against Mexico at the Azteca. You need to be adventurous. You need to try and make it happen. Second half, there was a little bit of effort from Ecuador to try, but their quality was absolutely gone. And I think Mexico deserve a ton of praise. They deserve so much support now from their own countrymen, countrywomen, the children, the next generation of players who are coming through, the inspiration they are giving to their people right now. You got to get behind that team, because when you do, you can see that the impossible is now starting to become the possible.
This is a football nation that thinks of itself as a country who is deserving of being among the very best in the world. With your Spains, your Englands, your Frances, your Argentinas, your Brazils, Mexico is an incredibly proud country. It is a country that believes that it has a footballing tradition. It is by far the #1 sport. You walk around the streets and you hear nothing but conversation about Liga MX and the Mexican national team all the time. And yet the performances that the national team have put out have not merited that. Obviously, there is, for the first time, we see them win a knockout round game for 40 years, which is obviously the quinto partido that has been talked about. I personally am not of the belief that with an expanded World Cup, with a round of 32, beating a third-place team, and ultimately Ecuador showed themselves to be of the level of a third-place team in this World Cup, is really lifting that curse. For me, this is about going on to a quarterfinal now and beating a proper footballing nation, which is what in all likelihood awaits them. Next up is the winner of England and DR Congo. I think if we see Mexico go out in that next game and play England and contest that game well and maybe even edge it at the end, that is the World Cup being on their home soil, delivering on a promise of a new day for Mexican football, which is, I think, something that has probably been needed for a while. Mexico is a country that got stale for a long time in terms of not being able to win in the knockout round, in terms of the status of their football. I think this could be a springboard for something much bigger than performing well at this tournament for the future of Mexican football.
What's more impressive, Ian, the way that Mexico have dismantled some teams going forward, or the fact that they haven't conceded a goal yet? They've looked very solid at the back, haven't they?
Yeah, listen, defensively, not conceding a goal when you've gone through 4 matches is quite incredible, really. I mean, at a FIFA World Cup, full stop. I understand the extension of the FIFA World Cup has made it a little bit easier for nations to still qualify, but we've still seen some big upsets in this tournament. And Mexico not conceding a goal is unique. It's so unbelievable.
Well, even, France have won their games fairly comfortably so far, and even they've conceded in a couple of those games. So it's difficult to keep clean sheets at this level.
Difficult, yeah. I mean, the group stage obviously didn't pose threat to them. They came up against opposition that wasn't either of their standard or was not up to their own personal standards. I do think they cruised through. Obviously, having the home field advantage, I think, has benefited Mexico up to this point. But I was waiting for a performance. I mean, we were talking about Mexico coming into this game that it's not necessarily been standout. It's been good. They've done just enough to get through, and they certainly deserve to get a lot of credit for getting through without conceding a goal. But it's not been blown us away performances. That first 45 minutes blew me away. That first 45 minutes has made me believe no one wants to play this Mexico side. I actually believed going into this one, no matter which nation goes in there, could it be England next or DR Congo, most likely will be England in my opinion, that I thought it would be an absolute easy game, a stroll over for England going to Mexico. And I just don't think it will be now. If they perform anywhere near to that standard, they can give the best in this World Cup a competition. Will they be good enough to beat in England? We'll have to find that out. But they certainly will make a hell of a game of it.
Is the Azteca, Whitty, as difficult a place for an away side to go and play, whether it be in club or international football, do you think?
I think it has become that again in this tournament. I think even the United States has found it, I don't want to say easy, but a little bit less difficult than in previous editions. I think in the most recent qualifying cycle, when we were playing qualifiers for these nations, the U.S. went there, they got a 0-0 draw, and I think they played a normal game. But in the past, going to that stadium used to be this Herculean task. Ask Charlie Davies, ask any of our colleagues who have been to the Azteca what it was like for U.S. teams to go and play there. It had lost that intimidation factor. I think the fact that the stadium wasn't used for a year, they do some renovations. I think they bring more fans closer to the pitch rather than those sweet areas that were really designed for the NFL. They weren't even designed for football. And yet we see for this tournament, it looks like the Azteca again. And part of that is the fact that they have played well, they've won games, they've got the nation on their side. There is a feeling that is created more than the building itself, but the building has also responded in kind. And I think going forward now, the altitude, the fan pressure, and just in general how Mexico are playing, I think we've seen it from the U.S. as well. You use the home crowd to your advantage early in the game. Go flying out of the traps and say, we're going onto you. You're not going to be able to breathe in the first 10, 15 minutes of the game. And that's exactly what they did in this game. I was stunned at the level at which Ecuador were overwhelmed by the way that Mexico began the game.
Mexico had scored 5 goals in the second half of games, actually going into this game in the knockout stages. Through the group stages, they scored 5 second-half goals. So I was expecting it to be a much closer affair from Ecuador's point of view, at least for Mexico. Maybe the nerves would have got the better of them. I was quite the opposite. I mean, they dominated that first 45 minutes so much. Now, I have given a lot of praise to Mexico, and obviously for people out there who enjoy watching our show, I don't like doing so. And it's hard for me sometimes to talk so positively about Mexican soccer, but how can you avoid it now? The advantage they have in Azteca, I actually wish we had as a US national team as well. We don't have that one place that you can call, all right, this is a fortress. The US national team doesn't have that on the male or the female side of our game. We just don't.
Extraordinary. For a while, it was Columbus Crew's old stadium.
Cold weather, I get it. But the Azteca is something completely different. If you look at the pride of every single Mexican supporter out there and around the world, I was watching a clip from the baseball. The Dodgers were playing. It was quiet as hell. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, some random fan in a green jersey behind home plate went, "Goal! Goal! Goal!" That is Mexico. Everywhere you go in the United States of America, I may even add North America to that regard, you will find a Mexican soccer fan. To Whitty's point, it is a religion to the people over there. The only experience I ever had as a player, I played against Mexico in Birmingham, Alabama. And I thought, under 18 game, looking forward to a quiet night in Birmingham, Alabama. 25,000 fans turned up to the game. 24,500 of them were Mexican supporters in Birmingham, Alabama. Now, I didn't get long in that game. I got sent off in the first half. However, I learned the rivalry and the hatred, but I also respect Mexico. I understand that. There is this hatred there, but it's hard not to respect what Mexico fans think about their team and the Mexican national team when it comes to FIFA competition. This is brilliant to watch. I'm really enjoying watching them play football, and tonight in the first 45 minutes, it was sensational.
At least Hincapié managed to last until the end of the game before he gets sent off. Let's talk about some of the individual performance for Mexico. I mean, you could pick almost the whole 11. Raúl Jiménez got another goal. And I think the way that he's been playing at this World Cup, he hit my bet. Absolute legend, love him. 47 goals now for him and 129 caps. So in terms of goals, he's overtaken Jared Borghetti. He's got a little way to go, 5 behind Chicharito right now. He's a great player, he's looking very good for them. How do you think he will be remembered, you know, post his playing career when he eventually does retire in terms of the all-time greats in Mexico?
I think he has to be right up there now. And I think a lot of that has to do with performances at the World Cup. The World Cup is one of these things where what you do at a World Cup is times 100 of what you do at any other time. You score a goal in a Nations League final, it's appreciated. It's not the World Cup. You score a goal in the Copa America even for Mexico, it's appreciated. It's not the World Cup. At the Gold Cup in qualifiers, it's at this tournament. This tournament is when legends are made. And Raúl Jiménez in this tournament, with how he's performed so far, scoring in that opener, scoring in this knockout round game, is turning himself into a Mexican legend that will be hopefully revered the likes of the way that Cuauhtémoc Blanco is revered, the way that so many, you mentioned Borghetti and some of these other top-level players, Chicharito as well. Yep. He should absolutely be right up there, both in terms of what he is doing for Mexico in this tournament, but also what he had to do in order to get here. The fact that he had his skull cracked in a header going up for that challenge, was playing at Wolves against Gary Cahill, I believe, for Chelsea at the time. He had to miss that time. He still plays with that headband around his head because almost he likes it. Yep. And it's a reminder of what he had to go through, the big scar that goes down the side of his head as well. It's brilliant to see that Raúl Jiménez is still delivering for Mexico after all of that happened. When other players, Santi Jiménez came through, other strikers have come through as well. This is his job, and this is his World Cup for Mexico.
I don't want to take credit for any statistic, but you did point out one in the green room behind the scenes. Do you care to add to that one about CONCACAF having success?
Yes, this is the first time that CONCACAF have beaten a CONMEBOL side in a World Cup knockout game.
History.
Never seen that.
To do that, you need match winners. To do that, you need top performers turning up when it matters most. He missed a great opportunity with the head in the first half, and I thought, wow, these opportunities you have to take to win knockout games at the FIFA World Cup, only to see him bury one in the top bin. Julian Quinones, for me, was absolutely brilliant again. Sensational performance. I would even go as far as to say he's been the most important player for Mexico throughout this competition so far. And he has actually made me pay more attention to him. Playing for the Mexican national team has not always been easy for him. And I think actually when you look through his past, him and having some racial issues with supporters when he has travelled for Club America back in the day, I think it was 2024. I can only imagine now how it feels for him to have gone through what he's gone through in his personal life and also in Mexico, having obviously gone through any type of racial abuse. You look now, this guy is going to be an absolute hero for what he has done for Mexico
at the bottom
in
there.
this World Cup.
He's only the second Mexican player to score in 3 matches at a single World Cup.
Yep.
He's almost venturing into unknown territory here. And I think what I like watching him is you can sort of judge him, you can judge the book by its cover when you see him initially when he plays, but there's a lot more levels to his game than just the physicality, the pace, and all the rest of it that you maybe noticed the first time you see him. I saw the first game against South Africa. What I've noticed in the game since then and what he was doing in this one against Ecuador. He's a way more developed player than someone who's just quick at, getting past the defender, isn't he?
Top class player. I would have hated to mark someone like him because he's sort of unpredictable when he picks up possession of the ball. I think I've been more impressed with his finishing more than anything else.
Yeah.
I mean, watching him in Liga MX, he's obviously a very talented player, but I don't think he was the type of player that he is now. I know he's 29 years old, so he's a little bit older now, but what he has done obviously in the Middle East has been super impressive. And I don't think many of us really paid attention to it because of the goals per game ratio. I think it was 65 and 68. It was something ridiculous, almost a goal per game ratio. I think he's brought that form into the Mexican national team. And he offers a different dynamism to this group, right? Every single time he's making runs in behind. Every single time he wants possession of the ball. He's an outlet every single time. And also the quality of the cross or the quality of the pass is there from him as well. But this is a real dangerous attack that Mexico have. And I think what we were looking for going into this game was, can you just switch it on a little bit more offensively? It's been good, but not really much for everybody else who's left in this tournament to worry about. Even I thought Ecuador would have okay issues with it. But wow, they turned it on.
And from the Ecuador perspective, Whitty, how do you think they're reflecting on the game now? Are they saying, OK, we were just beaten by the better side in a really difficult place to go and try and get a result and put in a performance? Or are they thinking, we've just brought absolutely nothing there and have gone out with a bit of a whimper?
Yeah, I think it is very much more that. You look at even going back to their first game against Ivory Coast, you want to avoid playing the host nation in their stadium, and probably the most intimidating host nation to play. The United States has been very good at this tournament, but as you said, there is no national stadium that creates that sense of atmosphere. Mexico have done that so many times before at the Azteca, where they ride the wave of the momentum. But Ecuador would have wanted to avoid this game, and they didn't because they finished in third. If they'd beaten the Ivory Coast, they would have had a chance. If they hadn't drawn against Curacao, they would have had a chance to host this game. Ultimately, this tournament for them comes down to, if you look at right there on the right side of your screen in the results column, 0-0-2-0. Going goalless in 3 of their 4 games is an indictment of the level of attacking talent. They relied on Ener Valencia for one tournament too long. Anyone different could have provided something, but it's also, I think, in their approach. Their approach coming into the tournament was to rely on their defensive record, to rely on what they have done so far in terms of not losing. I thought that was going to play well. We put out on social before the game. They're suited to knockout football. I don't think at this tournament they were suited to anything. I think we vastly overrated them coming into this tournament. And it's easy to understand why on the basis of the fact that they finished second in qualifying, their defensive record and all these things. But I think we pretty soundly ignored their incredible flaw, which is that they don't have enough going forward. And you have to have some kind of goal scorer, some kind of threat to be worried about. And unfortunately, their opponents had nothing to worry about going forward.
I think inevitably what we're going to see with an extended version of the FIFA World Cup is results like this when you get to the knockout rounds. You can expect the unexpected, but sometimes you'll get absolutely found out where you are with your quality. If you look at the starting 11 they went out with, it wasn't good enough individually. It certainly wasn't good enough collectively as a group. There was a lack of discipline defensively. There was a lack of discipline, especially from that midfield era. I was waiting for this high pressure, winning possession of the ball. They were passed through incredibly easy in the first 45 minutes, and the lack of discipline came from out of position. Kept them moving players around. There was no communication, obviously very difficult to do in an attendance like that, in an atmosphere like that. But no real communication. It looked like they were disjointed. There wasn't really a belief that Ecuador could actually win this game. It's almost as if they went out there hoping to do something with this game. And I think it's on the coach. I think the players have to take responsibility, but the coach has to take some too.
Time for a haircut. I hope not, because he's got absolutely unbelievable hair. We have seen steadily as teams have get knocked out of the World Cup. Ronald Koeman, we think it's going to happen to Bielsa. Managers falling on their swords because of the disappointment. Do they go for the same thing with Bekasese? Do you think he loses his job?
No, unbeaten record is unbelievable, right? They need to do better. I think offensively, I was incredibly disappointed with them. Really disappointed. I had no idea what to really expect. I didn't watch them through World Cup qualifiers. I caught maybe 2 games if I was lucky. I understand their record wasn't great. They didn't concede many goals. They didn't score many goals. But coming into this competition, I didn't have high expectation from Ecuador. We have a few people from Ecuador and supporters, of course, behind the scenes who follow the team passionately, who are probably a little bit upset that we're talking critically on their team right now. And understandably so. Your team let you down. Players let you down. I mean, when you've got a player like Valencia up top still running the game, and you're relying on him to be the match winner, you've got something wrong. Plata didn't turn up for the whole competition. Angulo ran but didn't have any quality. Yeboah ran without any quality in possession of the ball. Vite, we talked about him and Caicedo together in midfield. They were overrun in midfield so easily by the quality of a 17-year-old who balled left, right and centre in and around them. They were made to look foolish. And in the end, what happened? They lost their discipline. And I think that ended up with Nkapie getting sent off at the end of the game as well. Nowhere near good enough, obviously. But these competitions, and I think the extended version of a FIFA World Cup where you qualify through in the third place, you get found out pretty quickly in the knockouts.
They are finding their development pipeline, though. If you look at the starting 11, outside of Valencia, the striker, and Galindez, the goalkeeper, who are 37 and 39 respectively,
young.
The rest of the team is 27
and the
young.
bench, young.
Right. It is a young group of players. Independiente del Valle, the club in Ecuador, is leading the way in terms of development. And so I think for them, they just have to find a striker and a goalkeeper. It's not easy, but over the course of the next 2 years for Copa America, the next 4 years before the next World Cup, that's the job for them. I think there are the makings of a good team here, but they have to find much more going forward.
To answer Adam's question, I wonder if he is the right boss, though, for the young players, because he's the one who's leaning on the experienced players to obviously get result. And you've got, got teenagers and players who are in their early 20s sitting on the bench, chomping at the bit to play. I was disappointed with Kendrick Páez that he didn't play more of a role in this whole competition. I'm a big fan of him personally,
and also,
some decisions were weird.
And maybe this is a result of the changed format. They're looking back and thinking, what did we really offer? They're playing teams that they would have expected to score goals against and beat. They didn't manage to do that.
Yeah.
They limped through to the knockout stages by virtue of the fact that some of those third
they
place
beat Germany to
through.
get there, though, Adam. That's an achievement, beating Germany, though.
Yeah, I suppose, yeah. But then, playing like this against Mexico, if I was an Ecuador fan, I'd have felt like they've gone out with a bit of a whimper, wouldn't you?
Yeah, there's no doubt that they're annoyed right now. And again, I go back to it. Which one of those players really deserves any type of credit coming out of that performance? Not any one of them. Maybe it could have been more goals, but realistically, they didn't cause enough. They had one shot on target. That is a whimper to the finish line. It's nowhere near good enough. So I understand, but I find it hard to criticize a team that did get to the knockout stages and then lost at the Azteca to Mexico. Because if we've been talking here for the last 30 minutes, that's a tough place to go. And it's a very good Mexico side right now that's flying in confidence. And maybe we just lacked a bit of confidence from Ecuador. Is there something else behind the scenes? Obviously the supporters setting off fireworks and making sure the players didn't sleep very well the night before. Those things could come into context. But at the end of the day, I've had sleepless nights. I've gone out nights before games and still been able to put a better performance out than what Ecuador did.
Well, sometimes, behaviour like that from the fans ends up coming back to bite you because it can inspire the opposition to perform well. We did see that red card late on from Nkapie. Contentious maybe for some people. Was it the right call? I guess these are the rules now, aren't they?
Yeah, they are continuing to officiate these rules. You wonder, though, this one is consequential in that obviously it's at the end of a knockout round game, but it's not consequential in terms of dictating the result. We saw the Paraguay one where Miguel Almiron got sent off in that game. Ultimately, Paraguay went on to win it. You just wonder if this is gonna happen in a moment, and you can understand, I think, the thinking behind it in terms of making this rule change with everything that happened with Vinicius Jr. and Prestiani of Benfica. There is a part of me that wonders if that punishment is a bit too harsh, though.
Not for me.
No, I agree with Ian. I think if they know the rules,
of course, right. If they know the rules,
this is clearly the rule. You've seen that they're going to punish you for it. You will get a red card. Don't do it.
And he's obviously saying something aggressive enough that he was forcing himself to cover his mouth because he didn't want it to be seen. Albeit sometimes I think players are forgetting the rules.
And it's also a sort of artifice of the modern era. I mean, Lionel Messi is the king of this. Lionel Messi spends the entire game like this. He does. He spends a lot of time talking with his hand. It is one of those things where you don't want to be captured out of context.
I've never seen him doing it for Argentina, though.
Yeah.
But you don't want to be captured, lip reading and all this stuff. Everyone's afraid of being captured in some way that gets them out of context. But when you know the rules now,
what are you frightened of, though? If you can't, if you have to cover your mouth, and say something.
But it's not always in an aggressive context. Sometimes you're just standing around in warm-ups having a chat. You go, "Oh, I don't know, I'm not having it today," or just something like that. And you say something, but it is one of those things where now they're officiating consistently. Although I think
I could guarantee you in a game, if I had something to say to you that began with a curse word, I would have said it right in front of you, in front of all the cameras as well. I mean, the only thing you're really going to get into trouble for is if it's a racial slur that you say out there. So for me, just saying the F words and whatever curse words you can to your opponent aggressively, so forcing yourself to cover your mouth means it's a little bit more than that. It's a personal attack on someone. So I do agree that it should be taken incredibly serious. I understand your point, and we have seen it now a couple of times, right?
Yeah.
So players are going to have to learn very quickly, but I don't like cowards who cover their mouth. Don't do it. If you got something to say to me, say it to my face.
Yeah. The F word here is...
You got something to say? Huh?
I'll save it for after the show.
I'm going to break. Are we not going to talk about the potential opponent in the next game?
We'll get to that when we get there. Let's have a look at the...
Oh, here it is. Here's the
talk about it
chance.
now, Adam.
Oh, interesting. So here's that section of the bracket that's...
Well, they might play England.
England? How do you feel?
Looking forward to a lovely old day at the Azteca in that atmosphere.
It's normally a vacation spot, isn't it? Mexico for the English.
The English going to Mexico, they'll have a jolly old time, and hopefully break that curse of teams not being able to win at the Azteca. So we've got that to look forward to later on. England against DR Congo. So Mexico have taken their place in the round of 16. Time for a short break here on Scoreline 48 Nations, presented by McDonald's. Plenty more coming up for you in a couple of minutes.
At the start of every year, I find myself wondering again, constantly questioning life's mysteries. Could I make it in the UFC octagon?
When Jeff Probst asks survivors, ready?
Do they ever want to say no? Has Dexter ever considered meditation? Will Beth and Rip make it last on the new series Dutton Ranch? If not, Rip, call me.
Stream new series and returning favorites, plus huge events.
It's going to be the biggest year yet.
Welcome to the Running Man. The rules are simple. Survive 30 days. But the entire nation is hunting you down.
The grand prize, $1 billion.